13, hiked the Grand Canyon rim to rim in a day, which is a 21-mile hike, and burnt my chest very badly. The sun damage, I was researching how to fix that and found myself down in the valley getting IPL, which stands for intense pulse light. And what intense pulse light does, also known as BBL, broadband light, it's visible flashing light that targets certain chromophores in the skin. What it did for me, pull out the hyperpigmentation that had happened. It can also resolve redness, broken capillaries, and do some overall rejuvenation, actually. I just fell in love. I asked the person, gosh, how hard is it to get into this business? And she said, well, it's not really hard to do. It's just very expensive. Well, I didn't listen to her. Instead, I took every bit of money I had and I went and got laser license.
Welcome to Minutes with Mango, Life in Motion. I'm your host, Johnny Mango. This is the place where we inquire about lifestyle, culture, and careers. Weekly, we meet with new guests that make a contribution of their insightful stories about their careers and how those careers impact their lifestyle and culture. Hello, everybody. Today we're out in Sedona, Arizona, one of the most beautiful places in the United States. And we're visiting Anita Marcus. She is in the laser skincare business. We all know we talk about lifestyle, culture, and career here at Minutes with Mango. And I thought Anita would be a good one to visit with. So Anita, welcome.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what LaserGirl is.
LaserGirl is a medical aesthetic company that was started in 2015. What we do is help everyone to feel their best. We take away what you don't want and restore, revive, and replenish what you do like about yourself. So that being said, most people are familiar with laser hair removal. At this point, the industry has really grown into a lot of rejuvenation. So we do quite a bit of facial rejuvenation. We even do sexual wellness. Pretty much everything that you can think of in the medical aesthetics world, we do it. So radio frequency treatments, laser treatments, all of the above. Yeah.
So you use the term medical aesthetics. Can you expand on that a little bit and tell us what that means? I mean, you've listed a couple of things, but what is medical aesthetics?
Medical aesthetics is just taking the aesthetic industry a step further in that, first of all, it is regulated by our radiology board, as well as we operate underneath the oversight of a physician. There's special licensing involved to be able to perform our procedures. And actually, to that end, in the last year, LaserGirl Skincare became a school, and we now certify others. We are LaserGirl Skin Institute.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. So you train other people to do this, what you've been doing.
Yeah, it's a really fun job. I would say, considering the medical community, what everybody's gone through COVID and all that, it was very fun to be working with people, making them feel better, rather than, I feel so sorry for our COVID nurses that had to deal with all the sickness. People come in feeling good, they leave feeling good. Aesthetics historically has been about beauty and taking care of oneself. Medical aesthetics is basically that same concept, but using medical grade tools. And of course, we operate underneath medical professionals as directors. It requires special licensing, which we are now qualified as a school governed by the radiology board to do that. We certify our own team. So we use cutting edge energy to accomplish really amazing things. Everything from taking off hair, skin tags, to restoring hair, skin rejuvenation, you name it.
So this is a pretty comprehensive business that you have using lasers.
It is. At this point, I believe in my arsenal, I have about 35 machines. And that is cool because it's a very expensive industry to get into. And I've just had some really good luck.
So is that Anita, is that typical for a typical laser operation to have that many different?
No, 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 no. In fact, most spas are limited to one or two devices because of the prohibitive cost involved. At this point, what LaserGirl has been doing over the years, and I started with used equipment actually, and then over the years have been able to source equipment at a much better cost price point. And now LaserGirl is branding and sourcing our own equipment and selling it, in fact. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, we're going in
So,
lots of different directions.
so you train people. Let's see if I understand this. You train people to use those machines, and then you sell them those machines so they can go into business for themselves, or they operate under the Laser Girl name. How does that work?
I mean, that's the dream and the goal. We're moving in that direction. So far, the way the operation has rolled out, everyone's working underneath my name, but I do have 4 locations where the girls can build up their own market. But yes, they're using my equipment, my name, and of course my training. So yeah, we're rolling. We just opened 3 new locations in northern Arizona.
Where are they? Where are they located?
Sorry?
You're in Sedona. I know that, right? You're in
Yeah,
Sedona.
flagship operation is Sedona. We also are in Flagstaff, Prescott, and Cottonwood.
All in northern Arizona. And do you have any plans to go anywhere else?
One other market that's intriguing to me is Payson, then Prescott, but beautiful location, underserved market. A lot of people have second homes there coming up from the valley. And, to date, what I've done is building up these underserved small towns. I would not go into a saturated area of like a city. Phoenix, Scottsdale's very overserved.
Let's shift gears for a minute, and I'm really curious how you got into this business and how you started it, because that's the one thing I always hear is from people is how did so and so start their business, or how did you get here?
A lot of risk, a lot of luck, and a lot of hard work. In 2013, I found myself a single mom with 2 teenagers. Um, Definitely needed to do a career change. To up to that point, I had not had opportunity to really have higher education. That's another part of the story, but it was essential that I find something to do, that was going to take care of us. And I started my prereqs to go to nursing school, but along the way, I hiked the Grand Canyon rim to rim in a day, which is a 21-mile hike, and burnt my chest very badly. The sun damage, I was researching how to fix that and found myself down in the valley getting IPL, which stands for intense pulse light. And what intense pulse light does, also known as BBL, broadband light, it's visible flashing light that targets certain chromophores in the skin. What it did for me, pull out the hyperpigmentation that had happened. It can also resolve redness, broken capillaries, and do some overall rejuvenation, actually. I just fell in love. I asked the person, gosh, how hard is it to get into this business? And she said, well, it's not really hard to do. It's just very expensive. Well, I didn't listen to her. Instead, I took every bit of money I had and I went and got laser license down in the valley, only to learn that it is a cost prohibitive business, very difficult to enter into, and not a high paying job if you're working for someone else. So yeah, I went to school and I purchased a used machine with the help of 2 female friends, only to find out that my used machine was broken. I burnt 2 people, myself and somebody else.
Oh
And
my.
at that point, I learned that these big laser companies, they will not service or warranty a machine unless you recertify it with them for $35,000. When we start talking numbers, again, it's a very cost prohibitive business. What happened for me was, after looking for technicians who could fix it, finally stumbled upon one who said, wait a minute, I have this machine in my garage. I'll just send you the working arm. And it was just like an angel, a stroke of luck. I started rolling. I started in a spa. One of my great friends owns the spa of Sedona, and I rented space with her for 3 some years. And that was neat too, because it was a group of women. When we get to this point, I'll explain. I wasn't used to being around regular people. I was brought up in a very unique way. And so not only was I learning the business, and considering that I burnt people off the bat, it was scary. I mean, fear played a big part in getting me going and getting me to where I am. Just conquering that fear.
Okay. So you kind of bare bones, just kind of bootstrap the business into existence.
That is a fact. Yep.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious because you brought it up. Tell me about your background. What type of background did you have that caused you to not be used to being around people?
Yeah, I was raised in a very strict religious community, and although I did attend public school, we were not allowed to socialize outside of our group. I actually grew up being afraid of, we'll just use their terms, worldly people. Didn't Not only did I not have the education that I would have liked to have, but I really had to learn people skills too. I had to learn my way around being alive on this planet in a totally different, I guess, context. What is interesting, though, and I will give this religious background some credit in that there was public speaking involved. And so I did learn how to use my voice, and that has served me very well. I'm not afraid to talk to strangers anymore at all. In fact, my business has grown exponentially by word of mouth.
Were you an adult when you left this group, or were you a child, or what? How old
Yeah,
were you?
I was 40, pretty deep programming. So it was
You
kind
were
of a,
you were 40 years old when you left?
yes. Single
Wow.
mom.
So,
And the one other facet of this community is that when you do leave, they do practice extreme shunning. They're not the only ones out there, but they do. So in addition to finding myself kind of on my own with these two kids, we lost our family. We lost our community, everyone we'd ever known. It was pretty scary time, pretty traumatic. And that's why, because you're talking to other people who are thinking about businesses, you can do it. I mean, I stand behind that. Anybody can do it. Just got to keep going.
talk about that. It takes obviously it took some courage for you to make changes in your life. Appreciate that. But let's talk about starting a business and those first year or two of that. What was that like for you?
I think I might have a trauma block. I'm not sure. I don't know. Sometimes I look back, I'm like, how did that happen? It's just been amazing. First of all, the field that I chose is so fun. The results are so tremendous that it really starts selling itself. People see
Uh-huh.
such a benefit. They feel, we're basically resolving people's deepest insecurities. And I think helping people and making them, putting a smile on their face helped me to conquer my own issues.
Yeah, when you brought up insecurities, it took me back just in listening to you about your own insecurities, about just being with people. So now all of a sudden you're helping people overcome their own securities with their bodies, I guess you would say, huh?
Face, body, yep, you name it. And it really does make a difference. I mean, I would almost say it has an addictive quality to it, and people start budgeting for it in their everyday life, which of course is job security for us.
So what'd you do before this? So you were 40. Did you work before this?
I did. I worked part-time. I should say my kid's father and I ran a window covering business. I also was a full-time minister, volunteer,
Huh?
and I part-time did furniture upholstery in my
Oh,
garage. Yeah, I always did work. I just didn't, again, have the education that I wished I'd had. But
yeah.
now I laugh and I say, hey, I used to upholster furniture. Now I upholster people. Same concept. Make it pretty, pull it tight.
Make it pretty and pull it tight. Sound like a
Dra-
plastic
Drapings.
surgeon.
It's all about the draping.
Yeah. How did you come across the name Laser? How did you get
You
that?
know,
Where did that come
that's a
from?
good one. I got it in school. I was sitting there in school one day and I'm like, wait a minute, has anyone used this name yet? By the way, in the last 10 years since I've opened, the industry, I wouldn't say new when I got involved, but it was good timing because it's become immensely popular. The schools are extremely lucrative because people want to go and learn it. Now, they can't always use their license because, again, the cost prohibitive nature of the equipment. And I just saw her. I saw a cartoon. And I don't know, that night when I went back to my hotel room, I Googled the name and bought the domain even before I had my business started. I should say I created an email. LaserGirl, I think, was taken because my website is lasergirlskin.com. But
I see.
when she came to me, and my logo, in fact, is a picture of me that my friend's daughter, or my daughter's friend, caricatured. It's become very popular in in the towns that I am. Very recognizable logo.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It was just that, yeah, it came to me. I'm like, I got to do this. That was really step one, was getting my name.
So it sounds like you've got a personal business that you started, but at the same time you're starting to expand it. Do you have
Yes.
any, do you know, and you talked about some limitations. You don't want to go into what you call saturated markets, which I would think in Arizona that would be Phoenix or Tucson or someplace like that. But do you have any other plans to expand? Are you thinking about anything else beside Northern Arizona?
Well, actually, I did help set someone up in Colorado and someone in Havasu. They're not using my name at the moment. Sold equipment to them. We're always growing. We're always learning and growing. And like I said, at this point, my partner and I, as an electrical engineer, another angel that came into my world,
Uh-huh.
because now we have the science mind too, not just me knowing how to do the treatments, but he's able to really assess the quality of the devices. And actually, we custom curate some of our own. So some of our machines actually have features that other devices do not have. So we're a little bit ahead of market with some of our equipment right now. I was very frustrated actually with the schools because they advertised at the time that you didn't need a medical background, you didn't need to be an esthetician to do it. When I left laser school, I felt like I had no business touching skin. I ended up going back to esthetician school as well. So my frustration was these guys are selling licensure that's pretty impossible for people to use. Of the 30 women that I went to school with, I know of 2 who have used their laser license. And one of them worked for $17 an hour for 4 years. My company pays the 35% commission on treatments to my practitioners, and they are extremely happy with the income they're allowed to make without, I mean, really, the sky's the limit because I don't make their schedule. They can fill their book. I provide a lot of marketing and support and, of course, training. These girls can grow their businesses exponentially if they care to. So that's what I was aiming for, is creating a business model that would find that sweet spot where somebody didn't have to spend $150,000 to get into the field, or they weren't going to work for $17 an hour. So that's been my goal these last 10 years, is to create viable income streams for other women.
You're in Sedona, Arizona, which is this really beautiful red rocky kind of place. Have you always lived there?
No, I grew up in Oregon, lived a brief time in Hawaii on the small island of Lanai. Then, as a pretty young woman, newly married, moved here with my kid's father. And like I said, we were in a very strict religion. So that kept us pretty busy most of the time. But at a certain point, we started our own businesses, little businesses, and started raising a family. It's been a wonderful place to raise kids. My kids grew up hiking every inch of Oak Creek. And to your listeners, if they haven't had a chance to visit here, it's really worth coming.
Yeah, from a lifestyle point of view, it's a much different lifestyle than what most people are probably used to, huh?
Yeah, I mean, even though we do get a lot of tourism, and that has changed the community to some degree, it's still small town feel. It's, your neighbors. We get sun almost year round. So we're out hiking, biking, kayaking, really enjoying being here.
That's interesting. So if you do you plan on staying in Sedona?
That's a good question. I don't know. We spent a
Oh,
little
okay.
time in Canada this summer, and my mom was born in Vancouver. So considering going up there at some point, we'll see.
Oh,
By the
okay.
way,
All
Canada
right.
Canada is very underserved in this market.
Is it really?
Yeah. hmm
Uh-huh. So you could almost go up there and do what you're doing in Sedona.
I could. I met 2 people on my trip this summer that had machines that they were afraid of, as they'd hurt people with them. And again, back to your very early question, why is it called medical aesthetics? Well, you really do have the ability to harm. These machines are very high powered, can leave permanent issues: hyperpigmentation, hypopigmentation, scarring. You really do need to know what you're doing. It's not just, oh, let's go play with lasers. It's quite a science. One of the challenges with recreating myself by creating these opportunities for others is that it is a blend of art and science. And that was really apt because it's true. I would say that the women that have worked with me, for me, you see there's some that have an instinct for it and some that don't. It's very interesting.
So it's that blend of art and science. So you don't burn somebody up, but you also solve their problems that whatever they're having.
Yeah. Yeah. But you want to
Oh,
be
that,
careful that you don't create problems. So that's where
yeah,
that sweet
yeah.
spot
I
is.
I can really appreciate that. How would you describe your specialty? Out of all, you got 30 machines there. Oh my God, I just can't even, I, I can picture this room with all these lights flashing on and off and things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
what's your specialty? What is it that you really specialize in?
I think, and it's not just me, I've got one girl that is just really talented at this too. We custom curate. So a lot of times when people are shopping for medical aesthetics, they're looking for a treatment by branding, by name, something they've heard about, read about online. Because we have every technology, what we do a lot of is look at the person and then we prescribe what to do for them. My signature facial, we call it your own your youth facial, which we trademark. And what we'll do with that is custom curate some of our higher end treatments for the most effective rejuvenation. So, for example, most people over the age of about 45 start to struggle with loose jowls and neck issues. We have two treatments for that. One is high intensity focused ultrasound, and the other is radiofrequency microneedling. Brand names you've heard of are Ultherapy and Morpheus. We'll look at the person and say, all right, for your lower face, we're going to do one of those two. And often we'll bring them back 3 months later and alternate and bring in the other. The other treatment that are customized, we take a CO2 laser and we insert that in the mouth up into the nasolabial folds. And we have trademarked that, a nasolift, because it plumps up your heavy nasolabials from the inside out.
Uh-huh.
And then we will do a combination of a plasma treatment to lift eyes, custom curating individualized treatments per what that person needs. If they've got a lot of sun damage, we'll use a different machine. You know what I mean? Like just whatever they need, we'll put into the
So,
service.
so what I'm hearing is there's some, I don't know if this is the right word or not, but diagnostics involved. When somebody comes to see you and says, gee, my skin is sagging, or I've got these beauty marks, or whatever it is, losing my hair, you can say, okay, well, let's figure out a treatment plan for you based on what your needs are. Is that what I'm hearing you
Exactly.
say?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. What that has led to is repeat customers. So on the average, we see the same people every 3 months or so.
Hmm.
They return because what I always say is the only thing permanent is gravity. So we have to keep doing you know once you kind of start this ball, and yeah, it's an investment in yourself. I think that's one thing we all got out of COVID is we need to invest in ourselves. Self-care is really important, and once you start doing this, first of all, the results are very natural looking. You don't look like you've had surgery or fillers, or I'm not saying those things don't have a place, because they do, and I have high regard for them. But if you can avoid that and just keep yourself looking youthful and healthy, a lot of my clientele would prefer that.
Wow, that's really fascinating. That's fascinating business, and it kind of touches on what all three aspects of what we talk about here with lifestyle, culture, and career. You hit all three of them today.
Living
um,
it up, right?
yeah, living it up. A lot of it has to do with where you live, I guess, but because it is such a unique place. But if I was to walk into a typical laser therapy business, would they do that diagnostic approach? Would they take that diagnostic approach, or how does a typical laser business approach
That's a
it?
that's a really good question that I don't know the
Okay,
answer to. I'll say this, most of the companies that I'm familiar with, they're very, well, it's of necessity. They have 1, 2, 3 devices. So of course they're going to sell you what they have
Right.
and not necessarily mix, match, and custom curate for you. I guess to answer that, I would say probably not. I know there are a few that offer a number of different things and so can be a little more individualized, but a lot of these companies, and without denigrating anyone, the laser reps themselves, or I should say the laser companies, the big brand names, they spend a fortune on advertising, marketing, and branding. So a lot of times that's what you're paying for. That's what you're paying for as a practitioner. That's what you're paying for as a client. And so people come in and they think they already know what the right thing for them is. So they just order up, I see you have this device. I want that treatment. We're just a little, in my mind, it's a cut above because we will have that technology. Other things too, like that may not be the best thing for you.
I'm hearing that about the pharmaceutical industry, that we see all these ads on TV for all these different pharmaceutical products. What I'm hearing in the pharmaceutical industry is that's a way to get the consumer to tell the doctor, this is what I want, and if it fits
Oh, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. It is the same.
it's the same thing, yeah. So your laser, the people that build those laser machines are promoting whatever the treatment's called, and that drives people to somebody that has that particular equipment.
That is a very good point. And actually, part of my goal too is to educate people the difference between branding and the actual technology. We share an article that a doctor in Australia wrote where she was trying to demystify all these different brand names, when in fact, these are the energies. You've got radio frequency, you have ultrasound, you have cavitation, you have lasers and lights. And you can call those things, a lot of times a new machine will just be that, something that has been rehoused, renamed, and rebranded, but it's the same technology. We try to do a lot of education on what are you actually getting. At the same time, we keep the price point approachable so that people can afford to continue their maintenance.
Have you ever thought about branding some of these treatments that you have, branding them yourself and marketing it that way?
I have, but because I've always had cost in mind, and I think it just was from my background, that I wanted to keep things lucrative for the practitioner, approachable for the clients, but also be able to treat everybody, acne teenagers all the way up to people on a fixed income.
So Anita, how would somebody contact you if they wanted to see you about laser treatments or investigate more about being a part of the LaserGirl enterprise?
Our website is lasergirlskin.com. We can receive emails through there, text, online booking is available. lasergirlskin.com.
Thank you. lasergirlskin.com. And I'm sure on your website you've got ways to contact you and find you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Great. Well, good. Well, Anita Marcus, thank you so much for sharing LaserGirl with us. I hope you do well with your business.
Thank you, Johnny. This was fun. I appreciate it. It was an honor.
All right. You take care.
Okay. You too.
You have been listening to Minutes with Mango, Life in Motion. Subscribe to hear a new and unique guest each week as they comment on their life's journey and share experiences with lifestyle, culture, and career. You can always find us at minuteswithmango.com.